Doing reclamation properly is challenging. Now that we're really starting to scale up the work at Mount Milligan, we're learning quickly. We've turned missteps into advantages, and we're building systems that will set us up for success in the future. This video is about the complex process of doing extremely high-quality reclamation at scale. My name is Daphne Hall. I'm an environmental coordinator at Mount Milligan Mine.
I'm Vincent Chinji. I'm the environmental advisor at Mount Milligan Mine.
Reclamation, it does tie in with cultural values of First Nations people. If it wasn't for the elders from Nakasley and McLeod Lake and the community support for reclamation, we wouldn't be where we're at today. Well, Mount Milligan is a gold copper mine that started in 2010. I've been here for the last 13 years. You know, it's a constant change of pace from day to day.
Working at an operational mine, you have to plan your projects well in advance. You have to set up the budget and the schedule, and then you have to be prepared for things to come up throughout the day that you don't necessarily plan for. The large-scale reclamation projects require a lot of planning in advance, and it requires a lot of input from all of our team members and consultants.
I'm Sean Rappai. I'm a terrestrial ecologist with Chucho Environmental, and I'm working with the Mount Milligan Mine team to advance large-scale reclamation at the site. The objective of the operational reclamation program is to implement progressive reclamation across the mine. We are taking the learnings from both the Endako and Kemess mines, as well as from large-scale reclamation trials that we established at Mount Milligan Mine in 2020. We need to find the right team members, researchers, and suppliers who understand our needs and are able to meet the demands. In this case, we are working with the Northern Alberta Institute of Technology's Centre for Boreal Research to help us refine our methods for seed collection and breaking seed dormancy. We are also working with the University of Northern British Columbia to research the viability of growing native species in our tailings, and Thompsons Rivers University to help us monitor the results of our reclamation program. Woodmere Nursery in Telkwa to grow all of our seedlings at scale, and Farnow Forestry, who are able to plant the thousands of seedlings each day and each spring when our weather, soil, and moisture conditions are optimal. We are planting a variety of native species. These include Sitka alder, willow, supalali, prickly wild rose, kinnikinick, fireweed, and lupin. It's all about scale and understanding how to ramp up all components of the process to meet the demands of a large-scale reclamation program at the mine. As the annual cycle of reclamation proceeds, from year to year, the team members are working in unison, synchronized perfectly to get the work done.
We're out here collecting willow stems for the operational reclamation program at Mount Milligan Mine.
We got to get 5,000 stems from willows and then another 2,000 or so from roses. So it takes teamwork and a lot of hands-on to get these stems ready. The timing's super key for these jobs because we have a super narrow biological window where we got to get these plants before they bud out, and sometimes when we get sunny springs like it is today, the tops of the trees will start to bud out earlier than normal.
We're going to be bringing all of our plant material to Woodmere Nursery in Telkwa, and those fine folks are going to be growing these up to be planted out on the mine reclamation units. The reason that willows are used in a lot of reclamation units is that they have root primordia that are existing in the stems, so that's why they're easy to root. You can cut stems and then they'll develop roots just like that. My name is Brianna Collis. I am a botanist with Chucho Environmental.
My name's Gord Emery and I'm a wildlife biologist for Chucho Environmental.
Woodmere Nursery in Telkwa, and we're about to see where our seedlings are propagated. Woodmere has been an incredible partner for us. All of the native plant seeds and stems that are collected around the Mount Milligan Mine property are delivered to the nursery. Timing is everything. Woodmere have the facilities and technical expertise required to break dormancy on the native plant species so that they can propagate seedlings for the reclamation program. It's quite difficult and requires a deep understanding of each plant's life cycle and underlying physiology. Woodmere are able to create just the right conditions to successfully propagate our native plants at scale. It's certainly more difficult to use native plants, but it is an essential part of our reclamation program. Everything about this program is working towards increasing the bar and setting new standards. Once the plants are grown, they are packaged up and delivered to the mine so that we can plant them into the reclamation units at just the right time of year to give the greatest potential success.
The idea for native plant collection with the knowledge from the elders, that's basically where it started. It was like the basis of the knowledge that we built on. So it was the groundwork that we started way back, and it's allowed for us to identify certain plants that we want to target for on-site reclamation, and then that was the seed that was planted for our reclamation program here. Most of the knowledge was based on like, well, can we use this plant? And then the elders was like, it's better to use these plants rather than this plant if you want to be on a slope. It was a different collection process. Part of its nature, we just have to collect way more than anticipated in order for us to have a product that will survive. Because it's a race against the clock. If you stay too long, they come out of dormancy. And when the seeds are ready to go, you know, you have to have the people and resources in place to pick the seeds.
Hi, I'm Allie Gold. I'm a plant biologist and ecologist with Chucho Environmental. So this facility is the Enhanced Forestry Laboratory at the University of Northern British Columbia. This facility is important to the university because it allows students to do our research here, and we have lots of supports from the greenhouse curators. We are conducting a tailings trial to see whether or not certain native species can grow in tailing. Typically, tailings just get buried and end up at the bottom of a lake, and that's kind of where they sit. But we are testing these native species to see if they will grow so that we can contribute to the overall reclamation program. Our approach for this trial, we have two different kind of setups. We have an air oxidated pot where there's holes and drainage, and a water saturated to mimic more of a riparian habitat, which is common in these areas. We're going to take the straight tailings and put them in those, as well as implement different soil amendments into the tailings. So we have 5 different treatments for each air oxidated and water saturated. So after we get everything ready and get the pots all set up and established the way we need them to, we will be planting direct sowing fireweed, fall rye, and tufted hairgrass. Hopefully we will see some growth in these different pots with the different soil amendments and be able to give our results to Mount Milligan to help them with their reclamation program.
Hello, my name is Jean-Marie Sobzey. I'm the Plant and Seed Chair and the Manager of the Plant and Seed Technology Access Center here at the NATE Center for Boreal Research.
Hi, my name is Ryan O'Neill. I'm a registered professional forest technologist and I work here at the NATE Center for Boreal Research. I'm a part of the Plant and Seed Technology Access Center.
And the main goal of this center is to help industry lessen their footprint in the environment. And basically, we focus on land reclamation and restoration. The purpose is to help community, industry, and our partner to have a good native seed supply. And so what we do is we develop method and techniques to collect, to clean, to store, to test, to germinate and propagate native seeds that will be used for land reclamation.
There's a bit of a knowledge gap when it comes to native species, particularly the shrubs and forbs and the deciduous trees. But a lot of our shrub species are very dormant. They have physiological and physical dormancies that need to be overcome before they will actually germinate and grow into plants. But what we do here is trying to crack that code. So we're basically emulating nature. So some species need to be eaten by an animal and digested. So we'll use acid treatments to replicate that. And then we'll use stratification, tricking the plant into thinking that springtime has come, because that's what makes sure they don't grow at the wrong time. The reason plants have dormant seed in northern climates is that they don't want to hit the ground in the fall, get some nice weather and some rain and start growing, and then 3 weeks later get a frost.
For a very long time, land reclamation was to control the erosion and make it green. And this kind of patch of grasses over the year don't turn into a functioning forest ecosystem. People are moving away from that way of reclaiming site and now turning the site into equivalent land capability, meaning the capacity of the site to produce goods and services that were there before the disturbance.
We've gone to such great lengths to research the plants, breaking seed dormancy, and the timing and cold storage requirements. But none of that matters if you don't properly prep the ground to receive the seedlings. The implement and the equipment choice depends on the ground. It depends on the available salvage material, risks of compaction, slope conditions, and it depends on the ecosystem. The purpose of ground prep is to decompact the soil surface. In this case, we are achieving that with an excavator equipped with a ripper tube. From there, we will focus on recontouring the area, then rolling back all available salvage material. This salvage material will often include the native seed bank, and when left in a rough and loose manner, and combined with coarse woody debris, it will increase the habitat heterogeneity across the site and create the best possible opportunity for successful establishment and growth of our native species. Once the ground is prepped, we are ready to bring the planters to plant our native seedlings.
Totally unique, and it feels really good because it's a whole new chapter of planting. It feels like where we're planting things to, restore the forest to the way it used to be, rather than planting trees to be cut down. Been involved with collecting seeds on certain projects of this reclamation work and seeding them, tending to them, and then lifting them and back to planting them. It's like a full circle kind of deal. It's pretty cool. I enjoy the slope, honestly, and having mounds. Site prep is kind of a treat, and no vegetation. You can see all your trees, even if it's just a willow, and that way it makes it kind of simple. Yeah, my name is Layla Prue. I'm a foreman for Farnell Forestry, and I also work at Woodmere Nurseries.
Today we are at Mount Milligan Mine and we're setting up some malaise traps and pitfall traps to capture insects as part of our reclamation monitoring program. So a malaise trap is a big bug tent. The insects fly up and are captured in a collection vessel filled with fluid where they die. We're capturing insects because we'd like to compare how the insect community here on the reclamation site compares to communities that we see in more natural environments, such as regenerating burns, regenerating cut blocks, or mature forest areas. So once we collect these insects, we'll be sending them down to Thompson Rivers University in Kamloops for genetic analysis.
We're out here doing vegetation monitoring, and what we're looking at is which species of plants are growing in which treatments and which ones are doing the best. We've planted a lot of alders and willows out here, and we're also looking at the herbaceous vegetation, so that would include grasses and sedges and other herbaceous plants. What we're doing is seeing what can we do to facilitate an environment that people want to see on this mine site when it's closed, and that's a forested ecosystem. So what plants can we grow now, and that'll be the most successful.
The drone is outfitted with a multispectral camera with 6 sensors that capture different wavelengths of light in the visual light spectrum and the near-infrared spectrum. For the restoration work at Mount Milligan Mine, we're using the drone to map the restoration areas as well as the reference sites. The multispectral data allows us to calculate NDVI, which is the Normalized Difference Vegetation Index, and that gives us an idea of vegetation growth and productivity at the sites. By repeating the surveys over regular periods of time, we'll be able to observe changes in the NDVI and monitor vegetation regrowth and health.
With Mount Milligan, we've developed a detailed monitoring program. Monitoring is a critical step to understanding the overall success of our reclamation efforts and the improvements we can make moving forward.
In 2007, the forest industry in the region went down, and there was a lot of job losses in the region. When this mine went through the approval process, it actually allowed for the region to have a steady income for displaced forestry workers. And, you know, I've seen what it's done positively for the communities. It's provided a lot more stabilities within families, and it's allowed for communities like McLeod Lake and Nakasley to provide work for band members. I've seen this land change from where it has the wildlife and the trees that was natural to the area. The landscape changed so significantly that I got to see the change in the animals' behavior. I got to see the change in the structure of the landscape, from trees to barren land, and then to engineered structures and facilities like the TSF, and where it was bare ground, and then going from that to reclamation and reclaiming parts of the mine has allowed for me to see how important the reclamation on Mount Milligan is for future generations. So reclamation is a commitment to the land and to the communities. It's a part of the process that needs to be considered from all aspects. Like, we have industry, we have government, we have community. So when reclamation work is being done, we're giving back our promise that we're going to reclaim the area back. What I see that Mount Milligan has done is that they went beyond the standard just plant seeds from a commercial point of view, where we've actually taken the seed, the native seed, and we've propagated it, and we've used it in our reclamation program to enhance the areas most disturbed. I'd just like to thank all the companies and all the team members that worked on this project. If it wasn't for their commitment to Mount Milligan, we wouldn't be where we're at today. And I'd like to thank Chucho Environmental, Duzcho Logging, Stantec, Nate, Woodmere. Woodmere was awesome. I'd like to thank Farno for all the hard work that they did. You know, their tree planters are rock stars. I'd like to thank the elders that participated over the years with the Mount Milligan team and the Reclamation team, both from Nakasley, Watan, and McLeod Lake.